Good afternoon, actually, instead of evening, you fantastic and glorious degenerates of this floating rock that we call Earth. Welcome back to another live edition of Off the Wire. I am your host, Noel Olin, aka the Cajun Libertarian, and we have a stacked show tonight in preparedness of the Super Bowl. So that's why we were live at 4 p.m. Central this evening instead of 6 p.m. Central this evening. On Wednesday, we will be live again at 6 Central and then back to regularly scheduled programming on Sunday, 6 Central, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So please subscribe, like, and share the show. If you're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the above, leave me a 5-star review. Please follow me. Let everyone know, because word of mouth is still the most fantastic way of spreading this news. Tonight on the show, I'm actually implementing a last-minute idea, and it's really going to be asking you guys questions about what's happening. But I may have to kill one of these stories to make sure that I have to keep it under an hour. Or at least at an hour. But as of right now, we have the unnamed subject that I'm implementing at last minute. Also, we have a pedophile kills himself or unalives himself in court. Project Veritas Scandal. More Epstein documents to be made public. Not holding my breath, but let's check it out anyway. And a couple charged with plot to knock out power supply substations, along with a second Republican murdered in New Jersey within a week. Are we inching closer to civil war? Or are we already in it? My goodness, the political violence is at an all-time uptick. And hey, who knows? Maybe these Republicans that were murdered aren't politically motivated. But we know that with every single incident that happens with anybody that is just, not progressive leaning, or that is progressive leaning, within minutes, the orchestrated attack on how it's politicized is absolutely immediate, despite most of the time it being debunked. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into the show tonight. Let's have a bunch of fun. I'm going to keep this one relatively short because I know everybody's having fun, ready to get into the Super Bowl, or at least a lot of people are. And so let's get into it next on Off the Wire. Yes. Welcome back to Off the Wire. Now, before we get started, first off, I have to get into the sponsors and the promotionals that make this show going, that are secondarily to the efforts of what you guys, the audience, does. There are a lot of you already, we're not even 5 minutes into the show, that are watching the show. It's incredible. Thank you so much. And I want to get to some of your comments because there's a lot of them already before I've even gotten into the content. So first up, Jill Violet Dennison says, "Hey from China." That's excellent play on words, Jill. I love that so much. That's great. Keep it up. Great job. Lunatic Libertarian says, "In the house," and puts fires and 100s on the emojis. He also says, "F the NFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL." I get the sentiment. I do, really. The Tao, Steve. Love you, my man. Sup, Noel. I love all y'all. Love all y'all. What's up, bro? Logic Rex, emotions. You are awesome, fantastic, habitual listener all the time. Logic Rex also says, "Battle bots are greater than football." Amen to that. Morgan Dow says secondary. Yeah, I had messed up my sentence there. I wanted to say secondary and I wound up trying to twist the sentence to fit secondarily. I think it worked, but whatever. I think you're more right than wrong, and I am more wrong than right. So thank you, Morgan. Also, another fantastic habitual listener to the show. Lunatic Libertarian, also another one. Send me your Cash App. I'll buy a slot for advertising. You got it. So with that being said, if you want to advertise on the show, which is what I will briefly, not even briefly, just one sentence later get onto, is one of the fastest and largest growing Liberty podcasts literally on the planet. If you want to get into advertisement, then hit me up. I will be glad to let you know. It's very cheap because even though I'm still like according to Spotify, kind of at the top of the podcast on literally the planet, I'm still a small podcast. So I don't charge hardly anything at all for you to advertise on the show. Some people I don't charge. They just give me free stuff, right? Puppy Bow. That's right, from Morgan Dow. Cameron Vale. How the hell is everyone on this alien invasion day, right? So that's the first one I want to get into. And that's the what's the word I'm looking for? I always do this on live, right? Where you just can't remember words. The improvisation, right? The improvised segment into the show will be about what's happening in the skies. I wouldn't plan on talking about it tonight because I wanted to gather more information and push that out when I had more intel to deliver. But man, it's coming out by the minute. So I want to know your guys' input. I want to know y'all's ideas and decisions, and I don't want to hear it's just a distraction. Okay, I get that. That's something, and I'm guilty of that too, right? I use that way too often. Like, it's just a distraction. No, two things can be true at once. What's happening in the skies is unprecedented, needs to be talked about. We need to figure out what's going on. Also, there are other things that we need to talk about, figure out what's going on, right? So that's going to be the first very short segment of the show. Morgan Dow says, you're already drunk. Haha. I don't know how that works. I'm never drunk on the show, but okay. I'm never drunk. Actually, I used to be a very horrible addict, so I don't get drunk at all anymore. And I don't use drugs anymore either. So although I am for decriminalization, I went to a rehab for close to 2 years, 14 months. And then I worked at the same entity for another almost year. Anyway, I do. I also have a plethora of diseases from my alcoholism that have rang true in my latter years, in my latter 30s now. So I'm on and off medication all the time. And sometimes I'm too quick. I should take breaks when I'm transitioning between meds because it has a dire effect sometimes. And I'm just not aware of it. And people look at me like, dude, you were like messed up during the show. I was like, no, I wasn't. I was just transitioning medications and it was not good. It's like a terrible week when you're doing that for me and what I got going on. Morgan also says solar flares. Cameron Vale says it's probably drones. Whose they are? Who the hell knows? Who knows? All right. So let's get into the show. I love talking with you guys. I love your commentary. That's why I like going into it. So first up, we got to get to our the sponsors. First one, dsydo.com. dsydo.com. DSYDO is a libertarian-owned t-shirt company with designs intended to start a conversation. Use code Cajun15 for 15% off of your order at dsydo.com. That's Cajun15, CAJUN15 for 15% off your order at dsydo.com. I'm wearing one of their shirts right now. It says, safe and effective is now sudden and unexpected. So you can get all kinds of spicy content that are literally intended to start a conversation at dsydo.com. Now, that being said, let's hear a word from my very good friend and mentor, Spike Cohen. You're listening to one of the largest and fastest growing Liberty podcasts on the planet.
The game plan of You Are the Power is pretty simple. We find people who are being harmed or abused or neglected or mistreated by their local governments. And this is my life's work. We want to help people.
This is something that has already began to affect real change. This isn't some distant futuristic, utopic, or utopian dream. It's already happening. It's making its course. It's making waves right now as we speak.
If you want to learn how to become an effective activist and then to do actual activism and actually help people now, not wait for, like you said, some distant utopian future where libertarians take over the world and leave everyone alone. If you want to do that now, that's what we're doing. This next year is going to be the year that people see what liberty actually looks like. Not what it sounds like, not what our philosophy is, but what the actual results and ideas, the solutions behind what we do. So that's what I'm doing with You Are the Power. I would love for you to be a part of it. YouAreThePower.net. We'd love for you to become a member. And this is my life's work.
Amen. Amen. That is incredible. Go check out YouAreThePower.net. You can literally sign up for free and you can get all of the subscriptions and emails that are coming through with what Spike and YouAreThePower.net are doing. And you can be updated habitually all the time and be in the know of what actual work and actual feet on the ground, boots on the ground looks like in doing things that are real liberty-minded things. It's not a political affiliation. This isn't a party situation. This isn't really even political outside of the fact that it is involved in local communities and how to better your community right there in your space. YouAreThePower.net. Go check them out. Also, one last plug here, and this isn't a real plug. This is actually my anchor.fm/The Cajun Libertarian. If you want to leave a live call-in on either show with Wednesday or Sunday at 6 p.m. on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, please sub to my YouTube channel because everybody's kind of gravitating towards YouTube. And I really like that because I'm very close to 1,000 subscribers. So please sub to the channel. You can leave me a literal live. I will vet these because I don't have any choice but to vet them. However, you have a good solid live call in. It's only 60 seconds long. Then I'm going to play it air. I'm going to play it on the show, which is even better than having your comments being read out loud and shown on the show, which I again stress that you guys are very much just as much a part of this as I am. You contribute big time to the show. So please leave me an anchor.fm call in for whatever topic you want to, and I will discuss it on Wednesday night. And if you leave one after Wednesday, or if you want it addressed on Sunday specifically, or either day specifically, just let me know in the title, right? But I will show them. So go check out, follow me, anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically anywhere where you can get your podcast. All right, now let's get to your comments and let's get into the topics of the day. Morgan Dow says, love you, man. Love you too, bro. I can't tell you how much I just love you being here all the time. Lunatic Libertarian, same thing. Morgan Dow, Cameron Vell, Logic Rex, every one of y'all, just absolutely amazing. Logic Rex says, Spike, Gold, Heart, absolutely. Absolutely. So again, if you want to get an advertisement on here, hit me up. You can do Twitter DM. You can do it in the comment section here. I think it was Lunatic Libertarian. I will contact you for advertisement so that you can have your brand advertised on one of the largest and fastest growing liberty podcasts literally on the planet. It is downloaded in 25, or it's the top downloaded 25% shared globally, or top shared globally 25%, according to Spotify. It is top 15% podcast followed around the world. It is also downloaded in 33 different countries last I checked, which is amazing. All right, so let's get in that first one. And here's the first question. The Tao of Steve says, is it true that UFOs are here because you kept asking for them to come and take up away from all this insanity? Please say yes. And how do I get a boarding pass? Hook me up. No, I did not say that. Actually, I always advocate for the meteor, right? If it's not going to be the meteor that comes and ends this wreckage and nonsense of human violations and just destructive, murderous atmosphere that we have in this country, just send it. I actually pray every day that Jesus comes back. So for those that you don't know, we have many new listeners every day. Yes, I am a full-blown liberty lover, libertarian, but I am a disciple of Jesus Christ. So I pray for him to come back every single day. Absolutely. In Jesus' name, amen. Morgan Dow says, I might have the numbers wrong, but something like 1 in 3 Democrats support Biden and 1 in 6 Republicans support Trump. Time to hashtag vote libertarian. Amen. And then Morgan Dow says amen. So here's the improvised segment that I wanted to get to that I need your input on, because I really don't know. I really don't know. What is happening in our skies around the world? We've got, all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, balloons and unidentified objects, and everybody's saying, oh, it's just a distraction. We need to focus on Epstein files, which I'm going to be talking about right here, which has been a story for like a week. What do you mean? It's not a distraction from that. We all know that's happening. We're not holding our breath. We also know it's all happening. So it can't be a distraction from that. And like, oh, what about the distraction? Or maybe it's a distraction from the toxic chemical spill. And I think in Illinois or Ohio. Well, no, that's a massive story too. This isn't a distraction. Something is going on. I don't know what. I have my suspicions. And it's got to be just one or two. All right. Either number one, it's them wanting us to know. And I say them, you know what I mean by who them is. They want us to know for whatever specific reason. Distraction? Yeah, maybe. Doesn't mean it isn't right. Doesn't mean it's not a real story. But it's not a distraction from the main things that we're also seeing otherwise. Number two, it's got to be alien. There is no country on this planet that has sophisticated enough technology to invade our airspace without our government knowing well before we would ever know. If there is such an entity out there, it is not earthly. So it will have to be alien. Not saying these are the only two options. I'm saying they're the main two in my mind, because realistically, this is one of those things where I just can't put my head around it. Like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and they really kind of had no choice. And that's what leads me to believe, like, this isn't a distraction. This is them having to admit something is going on because it can't be hid anymore. And if it can't be hid, then what is it that is causing it that could literally just bypass the greatest military government, the greatest military institution that the world or any government has ever seen? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So let me check a couple of your comments, because I'm really hoping some of y'all have a better freaking better idea than me. Logic Rex, beam me up, baby. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Anyway, yeah, I put out a tweet the other day. It said, it was talking, what's that moron's name? Keith Olbermann. He said, I just heard hi, professional cynic here. The president just gave the best State of the Union address I've ever heard. So I made a meme about it. Under it, I put Loki from Marvel, from the Avengers, and said, get me off this planet. And I tagged Elon in the tweet and said, hey, Elon, how's that trip to Mars coming? Like, my goodness, man. Yeah, this is crazy. And this is ultimately, look, this is my deal. Jesus, just come back, get rid of this. This is a nightmare. We're out of control here. Isaac Hayes, conservative, the Cajun conservative, I believe. That is true on Biden, Trump. I'm not sure about Trump, but it wouldn't surprise me, because a lot of us Republicans are leaning DeSantis. Yeah, a lot of you are, and a lot of you are for very good reason. For very good reason. Morgan Dow says, they're UAPs, now unidentified aerial phenomena. That's an excellent analysis. Wow, I haven't heard that yet. Huh. Now define to me unidentified and define to me phenomena, right? Because that's really going to be what that actual statement means. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, Dave Davis. If the election were held today and it was between Trump, Hillary, Biden, and an asteroid, and those were my only choice, I'm voting for the asteroid. Giant Meteor 2024 / Jesus Coming Back 2024. Amen. Jesus as the POTUS, asteroid as the vice. Maybe the U.S. government is in collaboration with China, LMAO. Hey, man, look, I've even put that own conspiracy theory out there, right? Because like China immediately came out and they said it was theirs. Official representatives from China come out immediately and said, yeah, it's ours. But like, what if what Morgan's saying is true? Like, man, I don't know. He also says, although the Cajun Libertarian has a lot of jokes, no laugh reacts. Cares reacts only. Yeah, thank you, please, for pointing that out, Morgan. Anytime you're on Facebook, so Facebook's algorithm, and this is for your own pages and profiles as well, if you don't know, sad reacts, down reacts, laugh reacts, it drives the algorithm down. Really, the only two things that drive the algorithm up are thumbs up, likes, and cares reacts. It's pathetic and despicable what they're doing, but they do it, and so we have to navigate it, right? Lunatic Libertarian says, our whole story of history is falling apart. Yes. I don't know that it's falling apart, but it's being rewritten. And so it is. We live in a scary time. Scary time. That's funny, Morgan. Media versus Jesus. Unidentified equals we don't know or we're not telling you. Phenomenon equals anything, says Cameron Vale. Wholeheartedly agree. All right, I'm going to leave that subject there because I don't have any content on it. Let's get on to the rest of the show, and I'm going to have to speed through the rest of these. I apologize, but I really wanted to get into that because psychotic, or not psychotic, but crazy, right? Wild what's going on in the skies of the country right now. I actually have a from Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter at the Cajun Libert 1. So instead of Liberty, you just replace the Y with a 1, the Cajun Libert 1. Somebody shot me an article saying China has also now shot down an unidentified object. So we'll see what's going on. All right, next up, let's continue. Pedophile unalives himself in Texas courtroom by drinking toxic amount of common food preservative. A new report says this article is from The Blaze. So YouTube, please leave me alone. All right, I'm just reporting on a story. I'm not. There is parts of this story that actually tell you how dude did it. I'm staunchly against suicide, avidly. Please leave me alone. I'm just reporting on what they're talking about. All right, it's from The Blaze. A man who died shortly after his guilty verdict was read inside a Texas courtroom last year committed suicide by consuming a toxic level of a common food preservative, a new report says. And they go on to tell you what that common food preservative is. And there's lawsuits against Amazon because of it that I found very interesting. All right, on August 11th of 2022, 57-year-old Edward LeClaire was standing inside a courtroom in Denton, Texas. He was on trial for 5 counts of child sexual abuse. After just 3.5 hours of deliberation, the jury had settled on a verdict: guilty. As the judge read the verdict, LeClaire reportedly began to, quote-unquote, chug what appeared to be a, quote-unquote, cloudy liquid inside a water bottle. Now, you might be asking yourself, hey, Noel, or Cajun, however you address me, doesn't matter. Either way is fine. Why would you lead off with this story? Here's why. Because I am really trying to institute a new form of media, or at least my media, in which I want to have at least one good story per show. I'm sick of hearing all the negativity all the time, everywhere, every day. Now you might be asking yourself, hey, Noel or Cajun, why would you consider somebody unaliving themselves as a good story? Well, because he was a pedophile. That's why. And you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to shed a freaking tear or lose 1 ounce of sleep over a child abuser not living on this planet anymore. That's why. That, for me, is great news. Period. The only bad news here is that it doesn't appear that dude suffered painfully for a long time and then still lived after it. That would be the only bad news here. The good news is you have one less person molesting and permanently, lifelong injuring both physically and spiritually and mentally the most innocent human beings on earth. He never has this opportunity ever again. So good news. It's good news. Good news to start off the episode tonight. Good news. The quote-unquote cloudy liquid. No, I'm sorry. I skipped a paragraph here. My bad. Let me back up. Moments later, the bailiff found Leclerc unconscious in his holding cell. Leclerc was quickly rushed to the Medical City Denton Hospital, where he was pronounced dead just before 3 p.m. that same day. Now, a new report from the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office has determined a cause of death. The quote-unquote cloudy liquid Leclerc drank turned out to be sodium nitrite, partially dissolved in water. Though sodium nitrite is a fairly common substance, often used as a food preservative for meat, large quantities of it can cause low blood pressure and limit the flow of oxygen throughout the body. Security footage from the courthouse captured Leclerc purchasing a bottle of water from a vending machine around 7 a.m. on the day he died. His lawyer, Mike Howard, said at the time that Leclerc likely knew what he was doing. Now, let's go back to something really quick. The security cam footage showed it. Really? So, let's see. Hold on a second. Let's talk about this, okay? We got James O'Keefe accused of erratic behavior. No, not that one. Oh, wait, look at this one. Final trove of salacious courts documents revealing Jeffrey Epstein's associates to be made public. Oh, that will be my next story after the scandal with Project Veritas. Remind me again, were the cameras working in Jeffrey Epstein's cell? No, they weren't. All right, moving on. Just saying. Quote, had Leclerc waited another 30 seconds, he would have been in sheriff's custody and not had access to that bottled water, end quote. Howard said, quote, he wouldn't have been able to, so I think he knew, end quote. Howard speculated that his client was motivated to kill himself because he faced a sentence of 100 years in prison. He made the decision to do, quote, he made the decision to do what he did at the last moment, his attorney Howard said. The medical examiner has ruled Leclerc's death a suicide. I guess so. The families of 2 deceased teens have also sued Amazon for selling what they call, quote unquote, suicide kits, which include sodium nitrite. Now, that's very freaking interesting. You have families literally suing Amazon. We're going to need to follow that because this to me sounds eerily similar to families suing Alex Jones over his free speech, over his opinions on what he had to say about a certain incident that was horrifically bad and a terrible precedent to set in this country legally. We can't do. You cannot hold the actions of another person, to the speech of another person. Let me say it like that. You cannot hold the actions of a person to the speech of another person. Not good, very bad, or horrifically nightmarish. There is in no circumstance under the U.S. Code of Justice, under the United States Constitution, in which Alex Jones should have been legally obligated to pay this whatsoever. None. I don't care what he said about it. It doesn't matter. So now this, right? So I digress. Okay, I just wanted to point that out because I think the Alex Jones verdict is going to set a precedent that's just alarmingly dangerous for this country. And now here you go. Amazon's being sued for selling, quote unquote, what do they say, suicide kits. No, just because it included sodium nitrite and that can be used for suicide? No, absolutely not. No. Lots of things that you could sue Amazon for. This ain't it. All right. Moving on. The families of 2 deceased teens, I already read that. Okay. Carrie Goldberg, one of the attorneys representing the plaintiffs, claimed that even 1 teaspoon of highly purified sodium nitrite can be lethal. Leclerc was convicted of having sexual relations with a girl he had met on Craigslist in 2016. He had at least 4 sexual encounters with the girl, 3 of which occurred after she told him that she was only 14. And that's what the girl's mother reported. So, anyway, that being said, I derailed myself there. I didn't realize I was going to do that. I just saw a relationship there with legal precedent and and suing and litigation and civil court and whatnot. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. So we'll follow that. Well, we won't follow that. Well, we'll follow the accusation, the suing, the court cases against Amazon, because to me that's horribly dangerous. We just keep setting these absolutely ridiculous precedents. And let's get to a few of your comments before we keep going. Lunatic Libertarian. Feel sorry for the parents that do not have the backbone to keep the jab out of their children. I feel sorry for the kids. I don't know about these parents. If they're still giving kids this shot, man, wow. All right. Morgan Dow. YouTube is the reason you have to say unalived. Yep, sure is. So is Facebook. Morgan Dow. We always end our staff meetings with good news. Wonder if I can bring up that story. LOL. Oh, man, that would be hilarious. Probably not. Probably not. But do it. Just see what happens. Release the names. Hashtag release the names from the Epstein files. Let's get into that here in a second, too, by the way. I'm going to kind of speed. I'm sure most of you have heard what's going on with Project Veritas and James O'Keefe, so I'm going to briefly skim through this. I believe it to be a scam. Logic Rex says, seen a lot of people saying that the previous SODU sounded horribly similar with a lot of the same talking points. That's correct. SODU means State of the Union Address, for those that do not know. Morgan, are the Holocaust deniers getting sued? Amen to that comment. That's what I'm talking about. No, they're not. No, doesn't matter. These people pick and choose what. It's getting very close to our justice system being completely just out of control, completely corrupt. All right, let's move on because we're running out of time quickly. James O'Keefe accused of erratic behavior by 16 Project Veritas employees. This is from Timcast. The last one I gave you was from The Blaze. I always try to cite the sources that I get this information from. And I only get these informations from sources that I trust. That's it. Whatsoever. All right. You may not trust them. That's okay. I trust them because I've been doing this in depth and probably obsessively to a point that it is not healthy. So I trust The Blaze. I trust Timcast. I trust quite a few sources. Most of which I do not trust. All right. Timcast, James O'Keefe accused of erratic behavior by 16 Project Veritas employees. I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't heard this, I'm not going to go through all of this because I'm going to go ahead and just give you the beef of what it is that I see is going on here. And I'll explain in this article from Timcast. It doesn't take much for you to realize. This is clearly a hit piece. How can you not perceive this? He just literally, if you don't know, you can get on Twitter, go to Project Veritas' Twitter page, go find. They just nailed Pfizer to the wall. Nailed them in multiple undercover videos. Thank you, Project Veritas, for doing actual journalism, actual investigative journalism. This is how it's supposed to go. You investigate major corporations and government, and you expose it. You provided expose, which is exactly what they're doing, and you let us all know. That's what investigative journalism looks like. Obviously, journalism is not a real word. I stole it from Ben Shapiro when I heard it a couple of times on his show back in the day. So, love it. Still listen to Ben, by the way. He's got great legal takes. I know a lot of libertarians can't stand Ben Shapiro, and there's a lot of reasons for that are very valid. I get it. There's a lot of that I can't stand. But his legal analysis and the dude is pretty brilliant. So you can absorb a lot of good information. Just chicken bone theory, right? You eat the meat and you spit out the bone. I do the same thing with left-wing sites. Yeah, it's not good to live in an echo chamber. Get outside the echo chamber. All right, from Timcast. James has become a power-drunk tyrant, quote unquote, said one unnamed employee in a letter submitted to the organization's board. Here's where we're going to get into the fact that I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Timcast obtained a copy of the letter sent to the Project Veritas Board of Directors, Project Veritas Action, and the organization's executive management. Will I believe you if you tell me that James is probably a terrible boss to work for, or at least a rough boss to work for? Of course. I'm okay with that. Look at the business they're in. Investigative journalism. Man, you have to have some freaking strict rules and engagement to live by. Does that excuse somebody from being, very over abusive in their power of how they run a company? Maybe. Yeah, sure. But do you remove James O'Keefe from Project Veritas because you don't like the way he manages it? Because the only other, the real opposition to that is, regardless of how he decides to treat his employees, if it's even, this isn't even unethical. This is just, like, I just don't prefer that style of management. The entire article is just that. Every whistleblower, quote unquote, whistleblower that signed it, that was a signature, that's it. This just, oh, he was mean. Oh, so I'm supposed to say, all right, like, we should just trash the dude that started Project Veritas, that is doing actual great work, because you didn't like his management style? No, kick rocks. Absolutely not. Kick rocks. And I want you to kick them every freaking inch down the road until you're out of my sight. All right? Deal with it. Or find a new job. Find a new job. Half the time when an employer is being overly aggressive, it's because you're overly defensive or you're not doing your job. I've had several, even the company I work for now, where I'm right underneath the owner of the company. We've had our disputes, but you know what? He cannot deny my value. And so I will speak my mind. I will tell him, I don't like the way you do this. And he changes his ways because he can't lose me. That's why. So how about this? How about you put yourself in a position to where you are invaluable to your employer, and then you don't have to worry about that because you can bite back. And you do it all in the name of the idea that you're working for. I do it because I care about the company that him and I started. And so I'm like, hey, I don't like the way you do this. And I think we could make more money if we did it a different way. He might get mad at me for a minute, but at the end of the day, he accepts my contribution because he recognizes that I'm in it with 100% integrity and with value and contribution to the company and our efforts to be the best company on the planet. Now, was not expecting to go on that rant. However, here's a quote. James has become a power drunk tyrant, and he is exactly who he pontificates on who we should be exposing, end quote, according to one of the group's 20 collected statements. None of the statements are attributed to specific named people. None of these statements are attributed to specific named people. You cowards. You're cowards. We have all been on the receiving end of unnecessary, seemingly intentionally humiliating and outright cruel behavior, said another. Quote, I believe James knows he's in over his head. He's scared, overworked, manic on stress, and drunk on the success of the last 2 weeks. His flaws aside, his aims are genuine, and he is a true leader. He just needs a pushback in the right direction. I hope this potential board action is that push. I actually like that quote. However, let's go back a few paragraphs. The 11-page document included anonymous reports from witnesses and secondhand accounts of a quote unquote pattern of behavior that quote unquote severely limits the staff's quote unquote ability to execute the PV mission, the Project Veritas mission. All right. This group's letter was ostensibly instigated after Tom O'Hara on January 31st. Hinckley and O'Hara were terminated on January 2nd. Both are Chief Strategy Officer Barry Hinckley and Chief Financial Officer Tom O'Hara. That's not even the real story. The real story is like over half of these people. Let me find the direct quote. Give me a second, okay? Because I've bounced all over the place here, and I'm about to end this segment. I just don't believe these people. I think this is sabotage, and I would not be surprised. Put your tinfoil hat on right now. I wouldn't be surprised that after a couple of weeks after exposing Pfizer, that they wouldn't have their hand in this. Sorry, I don't. This is a coup to me. It's a coup. Now, let me try to find exactly. I want the exact quote. let's see. If we don't make these shit, nope, that's not it. The Democrat, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it either. Oh, let me see. Where is it? All right, it's in here somewhere. I'll tweet it out. I can't find it. It's 100% in here, or maybe I screwed it up when I was cutting and copying and pasting. Basically, here's what happened. Like almost half of these people never were a victim or witnessed any sort of this that's being claimed, and yet they're a part of the signatories. Literally, I mean, crazy. Yeah, I must have like unintentionally deleted it from the article because I can speed read and I'm not seeing it here anywhere. Yeah, I don't see it. I'll tweet it out though. I'll tweet the quote out because it's absolutely real. I think it was about a quarter or half of the signatories are they never were victims of any of these allegations or even witnessed any of these allegations. They were told something happened, like, oh, he took a pregnant woman's sandwich because he was hungry. Just they never saw it, they never witnessed it, they were never victims of it. They just decided they were going to sign the letter anyway. So, yes, no, I don't believe you. I don't. Project Veritas, James O'Keefe is the face of Project Veritas. He's the founder. You know, you don't like the way he manages, go find a different job, period. Or make yourself invaluable. And how about you do the work that you need to be doing to make yourself a part of an organization to where, and maybe you stop being a snowflake. I know that term gets overused a little much. Maybe you do that. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right. Morgan Dow says, thanks for speaking on confirmation bias. Hashtag confirmation bias. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of it. Thank you, Morgan. There's going to be bias in everything that we read. The part is to chicken bone theory it, right? This is the critical thinking that we should all be adapting and possessing, and that you can look at the information and regardless of the bias, some of it's just too much, right? You get on Vice, you can't pull anything from Vice, right? You're not going to be able to pull anything from Sean Hannity. You're just not, because it's completely, not only just polluted with bias, just convoluted also with a bunch of extra nonsensical and inappropriate, or not inappropriate, but inapplicable things that just have nothing to do with what's going on. It's you might get a nugget here or there. It's just not worth your time. It's not worth your time. But you can go to sources like The Blaze. You can go to sources like some of these, or even NBC, ABC. They're going to be very biased, right? But you can get like the actual content, and you can decipher for yourself. Take it, compare and contrast. Compare and contrast. Kick rocks. That's right, Morgan. Love this. Scientific Libertarian 2.0. Love this, man. Look, him and I disagree on a lot. He's always in the show, always. But we disagree a lot, and we're going to disagree here too. Project Veritas has fabricated videos, believing that any media source isn't full of propaganda is the real conspiracy theory. I'm going to leave that quote up there because we're going to address this in several different segments here. So again, thank you, Scientific Libertarian 2.0, for watching the show always. I'm a big, you're obviously a big fan of the show. You said it multiple times, and I love the fact that you're here all the time. And I love the fact that you disagree. There's a lot of pushback, and I absolutely love that because it's always the correct kind of pushback, like this right here. In the word, I want to address the first word here. That's very important. Project Veritas has fabricated videos. All right. No, they have not fabricated any videos. What they have done is they've cut up their videos so that you will see what it is that they want you to see. Right? So there's bad and good that comes with that. Number one, like with the Pfizer thing, you're not going to want every minute of all 3 dates that the Pfizer director of a certain department of Pfizer was on. You're not. Why would you want that? You can't want that, right? And so fabricated is the wrong word. It is just cut up. You can use the word propagandized, but that's still not very applicable either. Because what it is it's just real, authentic footage, has not been fabricated, has not been propagandized. They just cut up much of like I do with these articles. Like, I'm not going to sit here and read you an entire article. This show wouldn't be one of the largest and fastest growing podcasts on the planet if I just sat here and read you every word of every article. No, I'll only give you the information that's absolutely valuable because we got to get and keep moving. All right, next up. So no, not fabricated. That's the wrong word. That's not true. These are just raw, authentic videos. They're just giving you the content that they feel is necessary for you to see, that they want you to see. And there could be content that they cut out that didn't fit the narrative that they want. That's still not fabricated. That's propagandized. But it doesn't take away one iota from the information and content that they present to you in the video. Make that clear. That part is super crucial. None of that which they cut out of the video takes away from the content that gives you the narrative that they want pushed. All right, believing that any media source isn't full of propaganda is the real conspiracy theory. Almost so close to correct. Except for full of propaganda is incorrect. No, even the most ridiculously obscure, progressive, and extreme right content, they're still going to give you truth. They're going to give you some truth, right? Like I alluded to earlier. You're talking about Vice. You can't, it's just a waste of your time. Sean Hannity, a waste of your time. Complete waste. However, in both, there will be some truth in there. So no, it's not full of propaganda. It has been propagandized. This is where I have a real issue with the general public with etymology, which is the study of language, study of verbiage, right? We need to be very precise and exact with our words, lest our message gets diluted, because anybody that has at least a partial functioning brain of what I use, they can look at that statement and pick it apart. And now you have a real problem on your hands, because they're not going to be so, willing to back and forth and dissect what's actually happening in the comment. They're just going to go on the defensive, and it's a real problem. It's a real problem. So we need to be very precise with our words. The Tao of Steve James seems to have some strong support. I've seen a number of comments on Twitter from prominent supporters that their money will follow James. Yes, yeah, if he leaves. Absolutely 100%. 100%. No matter where James O'Keefe goes, the money will follow him and not Project Veritas, because no, he is Project Veritas. Now, we got a couple of stories to get to. We were running quick out of time. I am going to I'm going to dive deeper off into these last two subjects later, but I'll give you the gist of them really quick, and then I'll let you guys go. Final trove of salacious court documents revealing Jeffrey Epstein's associates to be made public. This is from the Blaze again. The final trove of court documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case will soon be released to the public, according to a new report. The documents will allegedly name the convicted pedophiles' associates and reveal, quote-unquote, salacious allegations. I'm going to read that again, because this is freaking important. The documents will allegedly name the convicted pedophiles' associates and reveal said salacious allegations. I'm not going to hold my breath. Are you? I don't. Until they, like Morgan Dow said earlier in the episode, as we reach a close here, if you don't give me the full freaking name, I want every, and I mean every name associated, every single one of them. You don't give me that, I don't believe you at all. Period. Logic Rex. Wait, so we're finally going to get the list? Man, in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name, I really hope so. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. The court documents reportedly say that the quote-unquote alleged perpetrators are accused of quote-unquote serious wrongdoing. The docs will allegedly accuse law enforcement officers and prosecutors of misconduct related to Epstein's crimes. Excuse me. Quote, the individual appears to have been involved in the charges brought against Epstein in 2007, under which he served just 15 months in jail for soliciting a minor for prostitution as part of a sweetheart deal with state prosecutors in Florida, end quote, according to the Daily Mail. The documents will reportedly be unsealed after dozens of John or Jane Does agreed to have their names made public. You have to be kidding me. I didn't read that line. I'm sorry. So what? What? You're telling me that the people that are involved have to agree to have their names made publicly? No. This is complete corruption. So, I'm sorry. I print a lot of this out and I don't actually read it beforehand. I just check, like quickly down. Man, are you kidding me? Let me read it again. The documents will reportedly be unsealed after dozens. Okay. The documents will reportedly be unsealed after dozens of John or Jane Does agreed to have their names made public. The documents were first filed in court for the 2015 defamation case against Ghislaine Maxwell by alleged Epstein victim Virginia Giraffe or something. Man, what? What kind of justice system are we living in? That just shows you who exactly we're dealing with, right? Because if it were you, if it were me, you ain't got that freaking choice. Your name's out there. If it's somebody that's high up, then all of a sudden they have to agree to have their names listed in a global sex trafficking ring. Sorry, my emotions are getting the best of me right now. Man, kick rocks. I'm so done with this. I'm so sick of this. When do we, the people, take control of this country again? And I mean peacefully. There's 300 plus million of us. When do you stop falling for the racial and sexual and gender and all the other stupid, absolutely pathetic, inapplicable garbage that they try to shove down our throats to cause division in this country? And we wake up and say, how about we hold global sex trafficking rings accountable? And you stop worrying about white supremacy. Is the white supremacy in the room with you right now? Is the black supremacy or the illegal immigrant that's taking over your job, are they in the room with you right now? Man, I'm done. America falls for the most ridiculously and absolute intellectual content these people have to offer. Are you serious? So we're going to continue to fight over white, black, gay, straight, trans, not trans, whatever other Neanderthal, smooth-brained, immutable characteristic garbage you can possibly freaking implement into society? Is that where we're going? Or we have choice. We have the choice. We have the choice. I'll get more into this story later. I can't tell you. I'm just so frustrated with what it is that Americans fall for. And as I've said before, this is a direct result, a negative impact of the Industrial Revolution. Because what we did, we decided that we were going to outsource our political power and our political knowledge to representatives. This is Woodrow Wilson. Started with him. And we've had perpetual war since. It's a war on everything. Because we decided that keeping up with the Joneses, now that we have power in gas-running vehicles, and we can be famous, That's where we decided to place all of our efforts. Instead of being we the people with the consent of the governed. And if a government ever abolishes or betrays the things that we say it's supposed to be doing, then we the people have the right to abolish and institute a new government. That is in the Declaration of Independence. We outsource that. That's why we're here. That is why we're here. We never, this is the thing, I'm hearing like major pontificators that I respect talking about, turns out we no longer have the ability to just put this stuff to here, I'm going to hand this off to you. Outsource it to you, Mr. Politician. No, we never had that opportunity. We were gaslit and sidetracked into making money in the American dream, and we lost our country. Now we have to get it back. That's it. We lost it. Now we have to get it back. New Jersey council member is fatally shot 1 week after slaying another lawmaker. I just reported on Sunday. Or I'm sorry, on Wednesday. No, I couldn't do Wednesday because I was out of town. Oh, sorry, y'all. I did miss Wednesday's episode. I need to do a better job of alerting everybody when I'm going to miss this episode. But my wife's car broke down last week. Had to spend over $1,000 freaking dollars to get it fixed. We're scrambling right now to figure it out. So anyway, I had to go pick her up from work, and I didn't get home till 6:30. The show airs Wednesdays and Sundays at 6 p.m. Central, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube. Follow me, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere. And leave me a 5-star review. Look, I hate doing that, to be honest with you, but that's what I've been told by the people that do this professionally and make a lot of money to do it and have the biggest influence, which is the more important thing. I want to have influence. I want to have an impact because we fall for the stupidest crap. Are we inching more towards civil war? Or are we in it and we just don't know it yet? Just last week, I reported on an innocent woman, a young black woman that got murdered in cold blood in her vehicle, shot to death. First Republican lawmaker in the New Jersey legislature or city council. Don't quote me. Amazing. And now another one within a week by a coworker. Look, I'm not going to sit here and claim that these things are 100% politically driven. I don't know. None of us know. But I do know, as I alluded to earlier in the episode, as I've talked about before, if it's anything other than a progressive Democrat, then the first thing they do is peg it as a political thing. I mean, Paul Pelosi, I was a right-wing MAGA extremist. No, he wasn't even close to that. And they're still running with that story. Amazing. He's a Green Party hippie, a nudist drug dealer that lived in a van. They still run with it. The non-binary that shot up a gay nightclub because he was offended that he wasn't accepted the way he thought he was supposed to be accepted by other people of the LGBTQIA plus hashtag minus sign added. However much long, how longer can the acronym go? Just adopt GSM, okay? Gender and sexual minorities. Very easy. That wasn't true. It wasn't true. But yet, here we have, within a week, 2 Republican lawmakers murdered in cold blood. And the officials will say they don't need another motive. They can't tie it to politics. Just amazing, amazing stuff. And we're closing on the end here. So like I said, I'll go over a couple of these last stories. So we can get up out of here. I'll revisit these later to give greater detail because I really want to stick to an hour. American neo-Nazi duo charged in domestic terrorist plot to attack power grid. This is an amazing story. Here's what strikes me the most about it. I won't go into the story because you basically got the gist of it. The alleged planned attack threatened lives and would have left thousands of Marylanders in the cold and the dark. Maryland U.S. Attorney Eric L. Barron said in the statement. So they were planning to shut down power, attack a power grid. Now, as you will well recall, within the last month, I reported on, or close to it, I reported on the North Carolina power substations were attacked, and like over 400,000 people were without power for over a week. That also happened in Oregon, Washington, Florida, California, and many other states, and now Maryland, or attempted in Maryland. Now, with that being said, how many of those people were arrested and reported on? I can tell you exactly how many, because I've been following these stories as you would expect. 0. Why don't we know the names of the suspects and perpetrators of the ones that attacked the North Carolina substations that knocked out massive amounts of people's power for almost 2 weeks or over a week? Why? Why did that story drop into the ocean all of a sudden? Put your tinfoil hat on. You're telling me that we can hunt down people that kind of look like others on January 6th and arrest them and seize via civil asset forfeiture all of their property through a video camera? But we don't know who attacked power supply stations. And not only do we not know who did it, they dropped that story faster than you drop a bad batch of diarrhea. There's always copycats, but who started it? And who had the knowledge to enact such an attack on the infrastructure that would be wildly successful? And who has that kind of training? Only one of two people. Only one of two demographics. Feds or veterans. And most of our veterans would never consider doing that, because they know when you enter in guerrilla warfare, the first thing you do is you attack power supply and food chains. I'll leave it up to you to speculate. I'm just saying. You never heard who leaked the Roe v. Wade report, did you? And the FBI just gave up on it. Meanwhile, they're hunting down Grams, who was wandering through the freaking Capitol on January 6th, looking like she was lost in the Cracker Barrel gift shop. But I'm supposed to believe that you can't tell me who leaked the Roe versus Wade SCOTUS decision, and you're going to tell me you dropped the North Carolina substation report without any evidence and any added information whatsoever. But then the first power supply substation planned attack that you claim to have been pre-discovered and stopped preemptively was by neo-Nazis. I don't believe you. I don't. And I don't trust you. You know who I trust? I trust the people in this comment section. I trust the people that watch this show. I trust the people that actually use their brains to critically think and say, you know what, I'm going to ask freaking questions, and I'm not going to believe this garbage narrative filled with propaganda and full of lies. As Scientific Libertarian 2.0 pointed out earlier, which I partially disagree with, he's partially right. Almost everything is filled with at least some sort of propaganda. So you make up your own decisions, family. And I consider this audience a family. I've got 154 this will make the 155th podcast that I've done in a year and a half, closing in on 2 years. It's one of the top podcasts in the world, and it's because of you, and it's because you are very much a part of this show, as I am. Nick McKinney, Hell yeah. With that being said, I have some exciting news to share with you. I am instituting a new segment to this site, to this brand, to this Cajun Libertarian brand. You know, I rebranded the show and called it Off the Wire because I wanted to extend, and I did not think I could do the necessary extending with that particular name. So now the show's called Off the Wire. Now, starting tomorrow, Monday through Friday at noon Central, I will have a daily segment that will air on all the same channels, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Sign up, follow me, leave a 5-star review, share it with your friends, like it, sub to my YouTube channel. Every Monday through Friday, a new 5 to 10 minute segment will air. A pre-recorded segment, Liberty Lunch Break from Off the Wire, the topic du jour. It is one story, 5 to 10 minutes long, a pre-recorded segment that will drop every day, Monday through Friday at noon. So set your alarms. Better yet, set your notifications bell on YouTube. Please sub to the channel so that every time I drop, you'll get a notification that says we're going to go live. I really hope this goes well. I've reached out to a lot of people, and every single person said this is an absolutely great idea. Again, I've sunk all of my own resources into this. I paid for all of this equipment. I paid for everything I use to do here, and I pay for it mostly with time and money. So this is going to create a lot more time. But it's going to be one story, 5 to 10 minutes long, Monday through Friday at noon Central. So you will get a microdose of yours truly in the topics du jour every day, Monday through Friday on this channel at noon. And don't forget to tune in live every Wednesday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Central, so long as nothing else interferes. Morgan Dow says, are we losing live session only pre-recorded? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I can't stand pre-recorded stuff. I love this right here. But the fact of the matter is I have 3 kids, a wife, and a full-time job. And so I can't do this with an hour all the time. But what I can do is I can record one segment of one story that takes 5 to 10 minutes, and I can pre-schedule it to drop every day at noon on this channel. That being said, the first one drops tomorrow at noon. I hope you like it. It's a bit spicy. Not all of them will be spicy, but it's something that I found earlier this week that I was very, very lit up by, and I wanted to share my thoughts on it. It involves Tim Pool, and I agree with him in one way and not so much in the other. And so stay tuned tomorrow at noon. More content from the Cajun Libertarian can only be a good thing. Thank you so much, Morgan. That's amazing. Cameron says, be cool, everyone. That's right. Be cool. Be cool, baby. Be cool, as Samuel L. Jackson would say in Pulp Fiction. That being said, again, set your notifications on YouTube for if any, I know a lot of you don't participate in the lives because you got life to deal with. But you can watch a 5 to 10 minute segment every day at lunch to get a microdose of yours truly in the way I deliver the news every day. That being said, it is Super Bowl Sunday. The game is coming on. I'm picking the Chiefs 28-17. And I'll see you all technically tomorrow at noon, and Tuesday at noon, and Wednesday at noon, and Thursday at noon, and Friday at noon. I will also see you Wednesday night for our next live Off the Wire. Same Cajun time, same Cajun channel. Morgan Dow, yes, use a microdose too. LOL. And I am out. Have a great Sunday, Noel. Have a great Sunday, y'all. I will see you very soon. I love you very, very, very much. I cannot express to you how much that I enjoy doing this, and I am very passionate about this. Please help me grow this brand. Share it. Leave the reviews. Help us get this off the ground even more so. We're less than 200 episodes in, and it's one of the most popular podcasts on the planet, according to Spotify. Thank you very much. I will see you next time. Same Cajun time, same Cajun channel, and I'm out.